casting directors have way less power than people think, and some casting directors make out. Because what casting directors do is summed up in a short sentence: make the work that you would love to watch. You don't get to see this. All right, I've got to unveil what you see behind it. I want to see it. I want to see you having fun. I want to see people enjoying working. Because if it's not fun, make it fun. My advice is as soon as you get the audition.
Today, we're going to be talking to someone who has cast across feature films, television, commercials, and major television productions, as well as coaching actors. It's casting director and acting coach Peter Rasmussen right here on Two Unemployed Actors.
Two unemployed actors. Two unemployed actors.
Peter, hello. Thank you for talking to the Two Unemployed community.
Oh, that's fantastic to be here. I've been really looking forward to having our chat. So yeah.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for me to be able to talk to someone who successfully wears both hats, the casting and the coaching, because I feel like you would have a unique perspective on that exact moment an actor's training meets the reality of the casting room, which is really intriguing for me.
Yes, because I began as an actor, and I had a moment when I was working in a casting office. It was my first job down at Movie World, and I had to book all these people to come in, and I had to work out how to do that. And then they all came in, and someone did their first take, and that was it. And I was standing behind a little camera. The Movie World ride had screamed by. The person finished their take, and suddenly there was this expectant look, and I went, I meant to say something. I now have to direct this person. And I think that's when I kind of really switched and went, okay, I'm now behind the camera, and now I see what the world is. And so, yeah, I always think it's lovely to have been an actor and having given it up. And it's funny, when you give up something, people ask you to do it on occasion. But now I'm committed to coaching people and casting, and that's the dual hat that I wear, and I really enjoy it. So it's great, but it's great to have been there, and I know what it's like.
Because you graduated, correct me if I'm wrong, you graduated with an acting degree in '97 before jumping into casting with Maura Fay. Was that at that time you mentioned, or was it from that?
No, I kicked around to moderate to poor success. For some time, until 2008, I think it was. Since I was there, I gave it a good crack, and it was a fantastic journey, and I got close to a lot of things. The thing I usually save to it's a really vulnerable thing for me, but I quit because I got way too anxious. It's the mental health access that went, the mental health part of this that I went, well, unless I manage this, there's no career. Like, I had a really amazing agent. Sarah Linston still practices now, and is kind of technically my agent, but we don't really practice. And I was being seen by all the agents, all the casting people, but I kind of went, I think I'm blowing every single one. And so, having known what it is to feel in the audition room, to work, when you can do brilliantly, well, there's my modesty there, but but something's holding you back. I just realized I had to stop, and I went off and did some more things, and ended up in a casting room, and then, Maura Fay took me on full time.
It's a brave moment to admit that, although you can probably do something if you focus on it and continue to focus on it and work at it, the impact to your mental health is so important. So yeah, that's a big moment. It's obviously worked for you anyway. It's a great path. Man.
Well, yeah, have to accept that. I think you do all the things where you're fighting to try and it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way, and you have to learn a lot of acceptance and all these things. And it's I think I've had being in a support role in my veins. And so the coaching part, I just love. What I realize is what I really love is purveying performance, creating and purveying performance. So I just love working with actors and seeing that pop, that change, and working out how to make that work, and that is a constant puzzle to do that. And then how to then recognize it and work out what works for a role in a production, and who work with directors and producers and work for the production, all those things on the other side too. And that's just endlessly fascinating. So I feel very, very lucky to be doing that.
Does being a casting director make you a more pragmatic acting coach, or does being a coach make you a more empathetic casting director, particularly where you've come from?
I think I can switch between the good and bad of both.
Depending on your mood, you can nudge the bad of everything.
Sometimes you're very pragmatic. Well, you have to be on a job. Like when you're wearing a casting director hat, you have to get the job done. You are part of the production. You're being paid by the people producing it, whether it's a commercial or not, and you have to get that done. But what is interesting on the casting side, that you're very much aware of the pastoral element of what you're doing. And this is what from an acting perspective, when I was younger, you kind of think, oh, there's so many amazing actors out there, and I'm just one of them. I've got to break through. But on the other side, there's actually the same kind of deficit thinking, is that, oh, there's no one out there to play the role, and there's not enough people to actually do it. And it's actually true that everyone works so hard to produce great self-tapes and do good auditions and have great work out there that people can see and hire them from that. But there are less people who are doing incredible work that are getting the roles than people think. And it is just this last 5 to 10% that if you work hard or work with a good coach, or study and make sure that you are delivering the work that is great, then there's really a lot one person can do to make it better, and to know that actually there's less. It's not an ocean of people and then you. And the thing that I focus on, particularly whether it's in class or whether I'm encouraging people to, when they send in their tapes and things, it's make the work that you would love to watch. And that little statement really helps me focus on what works, because having gone into casting, there's a common thing that we all love to watch, that 90% of us, when we watch it, we love it. Like a lot of people say, well, I don't like dragon stories, and then they watch Game of Thrones and name a TV show. And it's because there's this human element, this acting, when it's good, is there. And we can recognize it in ourselves. So when we're working, I really think it's important for actors to look at what they did, honestly, to go, what is working, what isn't, and what can I fix? And then shoot it again if it needs fixing, every time. And that more often than not, it's your instinct, what you see, that's all you need, or maybe a trusted friend. And if you can't fix it, learn how, and that's the development. And it's not as hard as people think. It is all a long game. Obviously, it's a marathon, but to not a sprint. But to find those skills and be able to do that is very attainable.
I think interestingly too, your teaching is a blend of techniques, the Chubbuck, Meisner and Strasberg, if I've done my research correctly. And you have an opportunity to use your casting experience to sort of tailor these methods to what actually does work on camera. When you're in the casting room, what's the biggest mistake you see actors make that can completely sort of kill the reality of the scene?
There's the big question.
I know, right? We always focus on the negative as actors. We're like, what do we?
But it is the big question. What is the biggest mistake? And I think I knew this question was coming, and I was totally prepared. So because it's like, pick your favorite film, but we usually choose a negative that we see that the person is facing some kind of problem, and they go, oh, well, they're unhappy or upset or whatever, and therefore the scene must be about that. Whereas if you look at it, there's usually something going on that's believable. What you're actually doing in the scene is what you're looking for. You're actually looking for not the quality, the emotion or the obstacle that the person's facing. You're actually going, well, what in this scene, I actually want this change. I want this to happen. Well, just in class, we did some cold reading last night, and it was this short scene. A guy comes over and says, "Oh, you're really hot. Are you here by yourself?" And the young woman says, "Actually, that was terrible. Can you go away and try again?" When anybody gives that a go, they go, "Well, she's obviously mean." And we think about the times that we've been rejected and how unworthy we feel. And then we try and create that person who is kind of mean and hurtful that hurt us, because we know what that is to be. We identify with the whether we're playing the woman or not. We identify with the person being rejected. However, but if we go, well, actually, she's teaching him a lesson, because she says, "Go away, come back." No, that didn't work. Try again. She does eventually go, "No, this is the problem. No, go away." But if you start from going, well, actually, I'm actually really going to help this person, because while she is saying negatives, I actually want to help you. Come and approach a person, because this, as an act of generosity, and you think about it, and that's more likely. That's way more likely that you would be doing something to build and help and encourage somebody than going in to attack, degrade, or dispel somebody else, or push them away. So yeah, so the big mistake people make is they don't find the thing that they're trying to do to the other person in the scene, that there's an obstacle that they're trying to get over, and that is the core that people usually miss. Rather they go, there's a quality I need to do, and it's angry, it's sad, or it's whatever. And that's when you get that problem, which other people in your podcast have mentioned, that everybody does the same thing. Yeah. That a lot of people do that same thing. They go, oh, it's sort of a bit awkward, or it's a bit angry. And they use an objective to describe the way they should be performing it, rather than going, well, what am I actually doing here? Why? What do I want the other person to feel? What am I trying to build in this relationship? How am I making my life better for myself in some way? And so it's usually the first reaction that people look at. They go, they're really angry. And so they come in angry. So usually do that, get it done, and they go, okay, so that's my first one. Let's try to see what other ways we can do it. Well, I'm angry. Well, what am I angry about? I'm angry that they didn't do this. All right, well, I need to make this not happen again, so I'm going to go in and make sure that they understand that this won't happen again. And all right, so I want you to shape up, and you just come in. This is the change I want you to make, and this is what you need to do. And so that becomes a better option. Yeah. So to add to the biggest mistake, my big thing is, well, you know how people send in more than one take.
Yep. Yep.
And well, actually, funnily enough, I was helping Emily Weir, who's now on Home and Away, with an audition for Home and Away. And she came in a couple of times, a number of times, because we knew each other, and I worked with her at QT and helped her with some coaching. And they asked for one take in one of these auditions, and we said, no, we're going to send two. This is back in the day, in earlier days, and so we sent two really different ones, but they were great, but different.
Yeah.
Anyway,
different
the
approaches.
Next one that came through, a few weeks later, asked for two from Mulliners. I went, did I influence that in any way?
It's so true, because sometimes, and you fall into that trap, particularly with self-taping. You can just tape, do take after take after take after take, and suddenly they all start to look the same, and you realize you're just trying to give them what you think they want. Your students often praise you for teaching the art of subtlety on camera and knowing what to throw away. How do you coach an actor to stop pushing and trying to impress the casting director and just pull them back to tell the truth? Is that your method? Like, you let them go for the first take and then say, hang on, try it through a different lens?
Well, yeah, I think the formula is less of the bad stuff, more of the good stuff. You know how people say big and small, pull back,
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. I actually don't know what those things are. I don't know how to do that. But if there's a thing that, you're kind of, this is a common thing. Like I was reading Lee Strasberg, his book the other day, and he says there's 5 points of tension. It's here, 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 and I think here. I can't remember. I think here. I think it is. You got to relax those. And that becomes a thing. So, watching yourself back, what is it that you're doing that is not necessary? That is actually something that you're adding that's maybe a habit, or you think it's doing one thing, but it's not. So getting rid of those. And then just focusing on what's actually going on. And this is for you. Because in realism, which is what most of us watch, there is no character, it's you in the given circumstances. That's it. And if you take that and work from there, you go, well, how can it be me? Well, all these things, what would make me do this thing that I would never do, but, under what given circumstances would you do that? And that's acting. There's lots of techniques. You were talking about technique and looking at a lot of them. And what I delight in techniques is that acting started with Thespis in 2500 BC. Apparently there was a chorus. He said, tonight I'll be the characters doing stuff. And he did that for the first time. And you imagine how nervous he would have been. And just working out how you'd, how to be Ajax,
At least there was no casting director standing in front of him. That's something.
Yeah, well, he just decided. Well, who knows? There could have been somebody who.
There's always a critic somewhere, anyway.
He was doing it to impress somebody. But either way, he did it. But to know that he was the first person to start working this out, and then everybody since then has been trying to work it out. And, you've had all different techniques, mask, commedia dell'arte, Shakespeare, different, and Stanislavski, I think, has the biggest influence on what we've been doing. And everyone who draws from that, the thing that I really like about exploring that is that when you look at the different techniques, you start to see what is common in all. Like Meisner will start with repetition, looking at the other person and their reactions. And then later go on to what are the given circumstances and different tools to use that. And Strasberg got people to, do big emotions, which, Chubbuck loves to do too, which polarizes people amazingly. Or Eric Morris, which is the one I did at uni, which I challenged the teacher and said, this doesn't work. And he said, try it my way for a second after 45 minutes of challenging him. And I bawled my eyes out and went, but I'm still in control and could say the lines. And I was a convert for a while.
But I think that's just it too. There's so many different, you can sort of gravitate to one more than another. And it could change what works for you today.
Well,
might not be working
this is what happened is at the time I just thought, wow, this is incredible, because I was a bit emotionally blocked. I was just a character actor. I just loved the Goon Show and doing silly voices and Monty Python and silly things. And then I realized, okay, here's a big emotional truth, and I can access it. But then my first job out of university was school shows, Shakespeare, bush poetry, short, 3 shows a day, throwing stuff in the back of a truck, driving to the next spot, doing it again. There's no room for it was more like the military.
That's insane. Plus also trying to engage that audience.
That was about fast shows, a good show. And lots of spectacular things, and you learn about comedy and hitting things and the energy between you and the audience, and that was fantastic. But what I realized that just the emotional work from back at uni didn't give me was the kind of the apparatus of the world, how to find what is happening in this world in order to kind of then have the emotional reaction too. Because without it, it can be empty and can have no response. So I really started to like Uta Hagen as a teacher, who's one of the influences in Chubbuck as well. And because she sets a really safe groundwork for the world of the actor, and any substitution she uses is very, very light. It's kind of like substitution light. It changes behavior. It's not about big emotional change, and which feels a bit safer in the classroom. Like I can do the big emotional stuff if people want to, but I just don't tend to do that. And so all these other influences I've looked at, and you just go, all right, so here's about, so you start to realize that they're all connected. You find the facts, you find your physical space, you find the relationships between you and the other person, images, what you think about. Then objectives, like why are you speaking to that person? Objectives as a kind of like that feeling you have, and go, I want this first feeling to have I want this feeling to happen between me and this other actor or this other person, and action verbs and all these things they all really work. And when people grab onto different parts of them, and they can really have massive changes when people work with any of those things. So yeah, I really like looking at a lot of them. But the key is, it's good to teach from one methodology, because as soon as you start spreading, the lexicon changes, the words change, and so what one person might call an adjustment, which is in Judith Weston is a substitution, I think. Don't quote me. But also for another person, it's merely to change something in the direction. And we did that with a directing course I was teaching at Griffith, and it confused them terribly. So we just stuck to Judith Weston. So yeah, so keeping the lexicon the same, the words the same, is important in a teaching sense.
To bring it back to auditioning, self-tape in particular, because you've run audition and self-tape workshops.
The first thing is if you forget about what's going to happen to it, you start with the you and go, all right, I want to produce something that's going to be fun or interesting to watch. My take on this script. I have no idea what they want. I have no idea what the director wants. And honestly, they don't either. They know what they don't want, but they don't know exactly what they want.
I love that self-taping gives me that total control over the environment. I'm in the mindset of an actor, but then also I step back and remember I'm producing this. So I enjoy the fact that I've got the control, but I also hate the fact that I've got the control.
Well, I did an aged care commercial recently, and it was all in room because everyone had to be 70. Well, everyone's 75 up, so getting them to where we were going, and yeah, it was funny having the agency producer and the director and the writer there, and they all go, "Oh, it's such a vibe, it's really fun," and it's kind of this. We should do this all the time. Okay, if you want, I'm fine with it too.
I imagine there's some actors that really love the self-taping and get more nervous being in the room. But I look, at the end of the day, when it comes to submitting, I mean, what are the key elements of a self-tape that make you say, wow, this person knows how to direct themselves?
Yeah, there's two things that I kind of want to talk about. One is the how to create a world that you love to make something interesting. How you make an environment that is conducive to your best work. And then you make something that either you're completely proud of or at least happy with. Because the best thing you need to remember is that at minimum, apart from can we hear you, can we see you in a self-tape, is this is a flavor of you. You've got to send something in. And if there's some authenticity and some playfulness and there's some element of, hey, there's something that person that they bring to this moment that is unique to them and interesting. So I think it's really important that it's not about being different, because being different means you need to know what is different to what the people that are casting it want, and then knowing what everyone else is doing and then be different to that, which is another impossibility. So the only thing you have to have control over is go, well, what do I think would be awesome? What do I think this would be amazing to do. And part of most acting techniques are not so much about teaching you how to change into different characters, although that's an important part of acting. But the first part of is actually going, well, how is create an apparatus upon which to become yourself, and that you are the person in the role. And that is the most different thing anyone could be. And I make this point in class. I just point at everyone and go, well, look around. You're already different. If you can be that, if you can do it in the way that you think is awesome and go, well, I really need to get them to like me in this scene. I really need to take them down a peg. I really need to engage in this way, in a way that I think works, because that's all you have. And then you send that off as this little gift. Nervous that they'll like it or not, like any gift. Was it the right one? But I put some good thought into it, wrapped it nicely, edited it to, not over much, but, didn't put a black slide at the beginning with a name on it, just cut straight to the action. That's my personal preference. With an ID at the end, so, and off you send it. And like all good gifts, you have to divorce yourself from the result, that you won't get one back. Yeah. But that it is this act of generosity given your so that's a good way to think about it. Now, the analysis paralysis of continual takes, yes, I think do your preparation quietly with somebody elsewhere, prep, set up your gear, have 5 boxes on the wall. Each take you tick off a box. When you're done, and that's you walk out. So that's a way to just deal with the that's enough. The other way is when we get into analysis paralysis, usually we're not kind of playing each moment for what it is with this expectation. And that's one of the Uta Hagen things, as the 4th exercise is moment-to-moment expectation, is that how do we do something 200 times and make it look like the first time? So the idea that in each thing you do, you have an expectation as to what the result is, and that a moment is literally you engaging with the intention to do it, you doing it, and then seeing the result. And every moment is that. Every moment has that structure in some way. That there's the checking in with, you're about to do it with an expectation, you do it, and then you find the result. And then you see what the result is. Usually what happens is that we forget that one of the bits. We all usually know I say the line there, but maybe we haven't set up that I have the expectation here. But usually the thing is that, when people drop on the end of sentences, they do that downward endings, you're trying to drive it through, terminal consonants. It's if you have the desire to see what happens having said something, that's that third step, So if you if I was to say, did you get that? Did you get that? And there's that bit afterwards where I connect with you. If it's if I go, do you get that? There's no desire to see the result. So the end of a statement is important in that case.
Actors, we can suffer from imposter syndrome and start doubting our choices. I think maybe it's simply a fear of failure that we carry into the audition process. What's one fundamental truth about the casting side that you wish every actor understood, which would sort of alleviate that imposter syndrome or performance anxiety?
Well, I mean, if you switch back to that thing where anxiety was my issue, I'm no stranger to it, and actually, and how destructive it can be. And I don't think it's simple. I think because you think about it, we're doing the thing we love. We actually get a chance to do it, and we get to be creative. We are asked to do the job that we want to do, and auditioning is the job. Getting the job and doing it is kind of like the holiday. Now I get, now I can do it without pressure almost. Well, it does have its pressure, but it feels validating. You're kind of freer, but creating the mental fortitude and structures to be able to do it is to do the job is this Herculean task that actors endure every day. Creating that sense of childlike play that you get to is what you almost need to parent yourself around that. That you need to create the person who supports that child's play. So I think that's something that I didn't do very well, is that just to create the environment that I have to create the supports and structures that make me feel secure enough that then when I work, I can play. So that's whatever. So that's, one thing. Again, very difficult job. It is, the uncertainty is the killer in this job. It's incredible. But on the same opportunity, you're soaring through the universe with this incredible ambition and goal, and to remember that you are unique, special, extraordinary. Your impulses and thoughts and ideas are valid and interesting. They are exciting and unique and specific to all the things that you've experienced and are now able to put into this piece of acting now, and that people want to see it. And if it helps, I do. I want to see it. I want to see you having fun. I want to see people enjoying working. Because if it's not fun, make it fun. You have to. And that's advice for some of the best actors I've known, and certainly the times when I've really done well and enjoyed it, is to make it fun. Keeping in mind, that there's a world that you need to be specific to, but the fun in doing that is really important. At least for me, I think, and certainly I think it has helped a lot of people.
That's great advice, I think, because it's so easy to get, especially with now the self-tape industry, it's easy for an actor to get lost in the technicality or their own headspace around the scene, and forget that, hang on a minute, let's stop. Let's focus on getting in the right headspace to have some fun with this.
And I think, but you've hit something very important, because I often put in a survey, is that, all right, all the parts, how long and how much effort do you take to do each part of the self-tape? And one of it is the learning the lines and shooting it. Then there's, what do I do? Where do I first get it? How do I plan the audition, the self-tape? When can I shoot it? How long does it take to get your self-tape set up, done? And what steps can you do to reduce that setup time? Or reduce within the costs that you're able to. And it is a huge thing. I found a backdrop that isn't available in Australia till June. I keep writing, can you do this? It's a standing thing. You put it down and you just lift it up, and it's a screen.
Right.
And it holds its own. And it's like, great. It's not cheap, but the time element of that setup, like I can take it to any space and run an audition, but in front of it. And then getting it off the phone or the recording equipment. How do you edit it? How do you upload it? Just doing that, so you're just reducing the time, reducing the effort, doing it often so that it becomes something second nature, needs to happen so that you can have fun in the moment. Again, that parent, or the agent, or the manager, or your technical crew, because you are that. Get them. Even if you go, I don't like technology, you can do it. You'll get used to it by doing it. Something that's important to remember, that in creating it so you can make it fun, is that as people watch it, up the chain of people who watch an audition, they are looking to connect with you and see what's fun for you in this. So long as there's something of you,
right,
sending in a self-tape is an incredible calling card, because auditioning is a way of finding your audience, because an actor throughout their lives is finding their audience, or any artist is. You find your audience. And so particularly if you get an audition and go, I'm not right for this, it's actually, you don't know that. It's just what's written there, but you've been clicked on and sent the thing. Even if you can't see any reason why that should be the case and that you won't get the job, it's not actually about that. Each audition is a chance to show people your work. And building that over time, self-tape by self-tape, is why you do have a casting process. Because the casting process is you auditioning. And how often is it that people say, oh, wow, I really enjoyed the performance, but totally not right for this one. And then they get the next job.
I love that. And I think, is it true that, you might see someone and go, look, not right for this particular job. I wouldn't put them forward to the client, but you remember them. And when something else comes up, you think, I know someone who's going to be perfect.
And I see it with the producers I talk to and the directors, is that you don't get to see this. All right, I've got to unveil what you see behind it.
Please.
For the way I've looked at it. But essentially, looking at the idea is that while you don't see the benefit, if it's just, I send it out and it's a plus minus, then you're going to be disappointed. Anything that in life that if you want to master it, just repeating it, if you repeat it and just love doing it because you'll master it. If you love it and you repeat it because you love it, then you will master it in time. If you go, I'm going to do this because I really want this result. You do it, you don't get the result. Who's going to do that again? Or we might do it again, but it's twice as hard. But if you just keep doing it. And so those going out into the world, those tests, your work, builds your place in a community that unfortunately you don't get to see. And that's the other thing about, in person. You do actually get to feel that a casting person knows you.
What I do get to see is when a casting director I've been in front of before asks me to audition for something else. At least that puts my mind at ease that, okay, I'm not mucking something up completely. I can still do this.
And that is the goal, that you become, because one of the great fallacies I think people think about in casting directors, and here's my big point that I kind of wanted to come in and say, is that casting directors have way less power than people think, and some casting directors make out. Because what casting directors do is summed up in a short sentence: to find the best options from the pool available. The best options from the pool available. Now, in that, is there to choose the people to be in the film? No. It's best options from the pool available. So yes, the power is in that we will see this number of people because, given the brief and the director and all these things, my best assumptions and the character brief that's given to me and my own tastes and flavors, this is who I will get to audition and present. And from there, it goes up a bit of a queue, and I call it the 7-ish stages of selection. is you do the audition. The first one, you make your self-tape and you watch it back yourself, and that's the first level of approval. And you look at it and go, yeah, or no, let's shoot it again. Then second level is, if you're brave enough, show it to somebody else, and sometimes that's a trusted friend, coach, or maybe even your agent if it's a really important job, or they do that or not. But certainly a second eye, because that can be very helpful to go, all right, I reckon that's good. Because certainly for big jobs, I'm aware that a lot of agents will watch it and go, let's get a great pitch, and they work with the actor to show something great, and if they have time, go back and go, oh, I think this is good, but we need to have something in this level because I think this is what they want, or this is what I feel it is. Again, we're surmising. Everyone is. Because it's a process for everyone. No one, the casting process, everyone is discovering what the roles are, including the people, because it is governed by who's available. Also, it's fluid. They start to see once it gets performed and what the roles will do and what will happen. We were on the setup of a series in Melbourne, and we had a whole day, and they went, "We are casting this character completely wrong." And it's how bad. No, this just isn't it. This isn't it. And it needs to be this. So the agent looks at it, and the agent and the other second person, and we go, "Yep, we can send it on to the casting director." So then I send those on, and people often ask me, what ones don't you show? If I honestly feel it will be detrimental to the actor to show it, that it is, for whatever reason, poor work, or if you send something that goes, "This is really bad," and the director goes, "Yep, that can damage the person," I'd rather protect the actor and go, "Let's not send that on." And also their attention spans and how much they're ready to see. But giving the people who've submitted a chance to be seen by usually the director and or producer. So that's stage 4 and 5. So director looks at it, makes their decisions. Sometimes it's about the producer as well, because especially for larger roles, this might be an audition for a lead role, especially if we've asked, sort of above the line actors to audition, that they are deciding, okay, is this what we want? Is this working? How do we want to proceed? Now we kind of divide depending on the project. So TV, you've got various stakeholders, producers, writers, networks, streamers, and so we go up that, and it can go up so many people. And at this stage, I'm back at number 3. We're up to 7, 8 people, maybe even more, rooms of them, and it's gone. It's all the way up there now. And I might get a question back. In the smaller roles, it's just usually a list of people that go, "These are the people we'd like to see." My job a lot of the time is, for the usually commercials or smaller roles, is to actually brief the actors as best we can to get that great performance, set everyone up for success. So for the ones you're auditioning for, often casting people have less power than you think, because we're not making the final tick.
Thank you so much for clarifying that process. I know a lot of emerging actors, just imagine that this is the moment, and if they make a mistake, it's all over, and it's all up to the casting director. The casting director is God, and oh my God, and they're already stressed.
No, and there's a little thing that I just love, but at the same time cringe, is I've had people in their ID say, "Hi, Peter." And I go, "No, this is not for me." Literally, I'm about to send it to insert name here. And, they're going to watch it.
If only. But I think, so I appreciate that. That's really interesting information. I think if we can touch on the callback for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes actors might panic about whether they should do the exact same thing that was on their tape that got them that far in the first place, or bring something entirely new. From your casting experience, what is the smartest strategy an actor can use in a callback to show that they're directable, but without losing the magic that got them there in the first place?
That's a great question. And the worst thing a casting director can say to an actor is, "Great, just do that again." Because you go, "What did I do?" And the whole time you're performing it, you're trying to, did I do that? And we all know that we want that freedom of play in the moment, that we set up the world, and we don't want to be kind of acting our homework. We want to be free of it. So remembering that that's our craft. We want that freedom, but that got us it. So what was it about that did it? So what we really want to say is be amazing again, or be that again. So because every time you do it is a different time. But if it was about getting the person to play with you, and that was the fun of it, go in with, I'm going to try and get them to play with me, knowing that once you start, things will happen, but you will try and pursue that one thing throughout. It will have different moments and so forth, but you'll still have that desire to get that from the other person. And so it should retain the quality of play that was there, or that, you're an authority, and you're okay. So, have to obey me. You have to do the thing I say. These are the things. And having that mindset, it will be different, but at the same time retain that quality. So that's the thing that's controllable. And I think it's working out what is controllable, what is not, and deciding that you will try and make somebody feel something is definitely controllable, but bring it down to like planned actions throughout is, because as soon as you plan a moment, you're putting something dead into the scene. You're kind of clocking it off. Yeah, don't over plan something because in terms of actions and in terms of movements and facial expressions, because then you're kind of treating your body like a puppet, whereas actually you're somebody going in there to do something. So I think that's you, and so that you can have the freedom at the beginning of that moment to dive in and try something brave and extraordinary like last time to overcome that thing and get that response. And that way you're just focusing on one thing rather than all the things.
Everything.
Because you have to evaluate which of the things did the thing that got them at, and then having not even the footage to look back on to repeat. It's so much to think about. But if you can bring it back down to one thing, like an objective, or if that works for you, then I think that's really important.
That's great advice. Thank you. And I think, and now having cast like everything from network television to films, and when Hollywood or a major streaming platform come to shoot in Australia, what are they looking for in local talent that might differ from a standard television commercial or Australian, indie feature?
Well, good American accent. Can you fool a local? And often people say, "Can you do an American accent?" And oh yeah, kinda. And you kind of go, And I usually pop the old episode of The Simpsons on, and where they do Australian accents, and we just go, "Oh no, that's terrible! Oh my goodness!" And so that's seeing that America is a big audience, and if it is meant to be specific to that world, it needs to suit it. And so to find a relaxed, clear American accent, I think, is very important. But likewise, if it is Australian, good work. Often they are much bigger machines. So, and when it is Americans working here, they doing your bit, getting it done, and understanding that you are like a little part of a massive machine. Is interesting. I love my Aussie productions because they do feel a bit smaller. They have, but they're restricted by another thing, which is usually budget. The pressure of time and low budgets, meaning that you don't have a lot of time to do lots of takes. So your efficiency is needed in another way.
Yeah, it's like Home and Away. You've got two takes, even for the series regulars. Sorry, moving on. But can I try that? No, moving on. That's just don't have the money.
And what a great place to learn the fundamentals.
Yeah, right. It's like a fast-moving freight train, and the crew have worked together for years, sometimes decades. It's like you just got to be as a actor turning up for a guest part or a 50-worder. You got to be work fit, be ready, and prepared to jump on board this fast-moving freight train.
Because I did one years ago, and I was meant to be shooting up at the surf club, and I went, no, the light's failing. We have to do it here by the car over here, and we had to do a fight moment. And lucky I'd done my Society of Australian Fight Directing training, and we like not stunty, but sort of just to at least make a shove and a fall down, look at least partially convincing. And
it's such a dangerous place, Summer Bay. There's always mine was the exploding food trucks. I mean, there's always something. It's like it's a war zone.
Oh, terrible. I kind of went, wow, it just feels so bare bones. And I think that's a great thing about Australians generally is that we manage to do a lot with a little. We are very innovative as a nation. We love inventing and working out how to do things easily and cheaply, actually. And I think there's some pride to be had in that. We look at, whereas even, for instance, like John Seal, who came from Warwick, where I grew up, and he would, when after shooting big American films like big films like the English Patient and many other big films that I can't think of now. They have this, $10,000 or $100,000 process of changing lighting. It's, oh no, I just switch this and I pop this thing on and it does the same thing. And and so we have a history of that, and I really think that's something that we should take pride in. And places like Home and Away produce people who can now identify the barest bones something. And so whether it is doing something yourself, like shooting little videos for social media that become stories and so forth. Like I have an ex-student who was given my class as a present. You can look her up, The One Shoe, and she has these SHU, The One Shoe, and comic skit after comic skit of silly things, and they're a delight. And she's also produced a movie, the first Australian feature film, I think it was, that was shot in Australia and aired here. And all started from, I'll just film it.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that happen. And she has like a little mini empire now and to take that on and go, well, if I just do this and this and this is all I need to do to then do this. If I go back to my first job, with the acting school shows, the particular company was called the College Players, and they started in 1958 at UQ, and they just hand the hat around doing bush poetry and and Shakespeare, and that sort of underpinned the culture of Brisbane professional acting. But it just started from a place, we want to do this. How do we do this? And I think that's the case for everyone.
Yeah, I think when you think about like a healthy mindset for an independent, working actor that they can adopt to sort of take charge of their career and feel like, rather than just waiting for the phone to ring and being a passenger, you're actually moving forward. You've, apart from student films is something that's worked for me to help me keep work fit. And, but yeah, there's plenty of creators moving from social media into television and features.
Yeah. The I Love LA, what's her name? Start little short form and suddenly becomes long form. Well, I usually wave my arms like this to kind of help with that mindset thing. On one hand, you've got all the things you're auditioning for. You're going in and you're auditioning for it, and you'd like to be a part of something that's already been established by somebody else. And then you've got the other hand I wave, which is the things that they're entirely generated by you or you and your friends or you and whoever, the silly person we like to make silly things with. And it's more often that this creates a career than that. I'm making something with a friend of mine just cause, then being cast in something and going, world famous, although obviously both occur. And for instance, Australian TV, I love Deadlock as a series. Yeah. Just wonderful, terrific humor, shows. It's got the flavor of the two Kates who wrote it and as the writers, and is just a wonderful portrait that's so great of a really good. It's just a great story, and it's funny, and it's scary too, and it did really well overseas because it is just a good story, and to know that came from those two friends, the two Kates, just kind of making silly skits together. I mean, that's how I see it. I actually have never talked to them, but I do see it. I know that they became big doing
and we
YouTube
see it time
stuff.
And time again, that possibility. I think it's so there's plenty of opportunities for actors to really be proactive about their career.
And even if you don't think it's going to go anywhere, just do it just to take the pressure off. I will make a funny thing. Learn a poem to say to somebody. Like I learned, I learned the Highwayman, the old poem for my my wife, who liked little like gothic things for her birthday or something. And I took the time to learn it and memorize it because I've got a terrible memory, but I've made all these how to remember lines things to share. So that was something for me, just for me. But but you have to discover what yours is, because ultimately, no one succeeds in a big way in this industry without owning some major IP. So writing and creating something, some intellectual property that is yours, that you put out there is kind of the goal.
I love that.
And that, this is a vehicle to it, or it could take you there. So, Margot Robbie has her own production company now, but after, doing well on Neighbours, but then she went there having gone that route. Some people start making their own thing and go that way. And so, but having something that's yours, however small, just making something, I think, is vital.
I love that. That's great advice. Just get out there and get it done. Don't wait. I've got some questions before we wrap up, just from emerging actors, listeners of the podcast who perhaps don't have a lot of industry experience. Some of them are quite interesting, particularly for the independent actors listening who don't currently have an agent pitching them for major projects. How does an unrepresented actor generally get on your radar for a project you're casting? Do cold emails actually work for you? Is there a better way to kick open the door?
It's really tough to interact with a casting person without an agent. It's similar because when I help out students at times, I'm aware that when they call an agent to ask for an actor even, that the agent just sighs because they go, well, actually now I have to teach you how to interact with me efficiently, because the reason there's agents and casting directors to separate the producers and directors and people making stuff and the pools of actors is to make that process clear and clean, and there's lots to navigate in between. One does have to learn how casting works in order to get cast. And once you've learned that, and you can put work out there, I'm sure you can find an agent. So certainly the trifecta of a good headshot, find a really good headshot photographer to at least get one of that neutral expression, something going on behind the eyes, that a headshot, and look up photographers who can do that, because there are people who are great photographers, but an actor's headshot is very specific. And I think you're looking at your casual best, but with that neutral expression, something going on behind the eyes is at least that is important. Maybe a nice selfie where they can see what you look like, or in a more everyday way. Examples of your work, which can be shot, just one of these. And anywhere, just download a script, learn it, shoot it in natural light. You've got something to show. It's never been easier. And then some sort of CV. What people don't often discount is, their time at school or doing drama, that they were in a musical, that they studied some commedia dell'arte, that they did, that they like making TikToks on the weekend with their friend, and that's fun. So, and you send that off, and then you follow it up. Also, researching. So this is a very long chat, and I did actually make a course about this because I take these 1 hour sessions, and my wife would finally said, I'm leaving for a week. You say all that into the computer, and when I'm back, I want it done, because I just hear you repeating yourself. But this is important stuff. So,
it's great for particularly for those actors with little industry experience. This is really
and then
valuable.
You do jump on things like on Star Now, where you are auditioning the people doing it as much as they're auditioning you. Trying to get on good student productions, people who have made stuff that you can see that they are going to, there's a very good chance that they will complete the job, that they're not just giving you a scene, promising you the world, but just going down to the park and shooting you in a 2-shot. with a camera, which is literally the case I've seen before. So finding people who really want to do that and auditioning for it. When you get emails like, "Hi, I'd like to be an actor. Do you have any roles for me?" And literally that's all there is. And you go, okay, so, are there any opportunities going right now? And like for instance, I know nothing about you. I have nothing to go on. There's a lot to do. So to know that is the start. You can see my frustration there. It was just the everyday thing that you kind of go, why can't it be different? Whereas absolutely, it's ordinary that people don't know, and they need to learn over time. Over time, learning how that process works, so that then you can be a part of it. But the best thing is producing good work, because you don't want to enter the industry selling a product you don't have.
That's really, really valuable, because the next question was, if an actor's starting from absolutely zero today, no agent, no reel, no formal training, and they want to put themselves in a position to audition for a professional role a year from now, what should their priorities be for the next 12 months? I think you've actually just nailed the checklist.
What will priorities be for the next 12 months? I love that. Oh, can I make a point that I forgot about with the auditioning thing, with it being free, and come back to that? Biggest piece of advice that seems to work, because it eventually worked for me, because an audition, what used to be for me, you have the days preparing. It's very stressful. You are, I would make it more stressful than anyone could possibly imagine. Family of worriers. It's an impediment until you work out how to use it, because your anxiety is actually very useful to once you can put into the work. And you spend all that time and you travel a long way to do it, and you sit and you wait and you do the audition, or you spend all that time producing it, and you don't go to the party because of it, and you've shot it, you've edited, you go, and that's it, done, it's done, and then you send it off, and then silence. And the thing that can come in that silence are the negative voices, are the questions, is the horror, and that is agony, like actual physical. It physically hurts. So my advice is as soon as you get the audition, you kind of, or the self-tape, you work out when it's due by, or when you can reasonably hand it in, or if you can. And then as soon as you press send, as soon as you exit the audition room, you have planned, back at the beginning here, you organize to do something wonderful for yourself. A lovely walk, like, in Sydney, walking along the harbour, I just thought was just gorgeous, or on the cliffs down in on the coast, or meeting up with a friend, or doing something for somebody else, doing something that is delicious to you, that makes you feel precious and warm and hopeful, and just goes, because the message to yourself needs to be this: acting is something I do in my life. It is not my life. It's very important. It is not my life, because I have all these things that fill my world with joy. And I'll go and do one of those things, and I'll make sure that it happens, and go and do it. Yet when we focus on something, we give so much to it that we do need to fill it with something else next. So that's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I think has actually
That's really good,
resonated.
just to help sort of pull you out of that headspace that can very well become negative.
But I think so going back to the person who's trying to, who's starting from scratch. First of all, I think you want to highlight what you want to achieve, and take a little time to work out what it is you want to do, because you may go, I want to be a working actor. Okay, good. All right, that is very true. But I think you need to get more specific, and so that what you're seeing is a little bit more tangible. I want to be the lead in an Australian comedy series, or I want to be an international action star in Verticals. I want to I want to be be the lead in an amazing period something, or and get even more specific than that, because you don't actually need to achieve it, is the trick here. That you have that this is what you want in your head. This is where it is. Given maybe a 5-year span, so that you have and you keep coming back to it. So that you go, all right, so in the 12 months that I've got, one of those things might be, to get an agent. So in that, you then go, well, what do I need to do? I need to make sure that I'm producing good work and that I can do it to a level and that I can be truthful. So find the class, and these things cost money. So you have to, do the budgets for these things. Or, you can open books and do it. A lot of people, I know people who spent a year watching films and going, how did they do that? And then tried to work out how they did that. And that's an interesting way. And that's what every actor should do. And towards the end, the headshots were between $300 and $700, depending on what you need. If you need to do hair and makeup and as well, and how many you need and the photographer that you use. It's so you have to budget for that. Creating scene libraries is important. Like I have courses literally about doing that. How you do it at home with a camera and with your smartphone, and building a really attractive profile on, say, Casting Networks, Showcast, Altai, or casting.com, or wherever you want to place them. And so that anybody looking at your work, they can easily absorb your work and go, all right, this is what they are, I like them, with a view that they may eventually search for your work elsewhere, IMDb eventually and so forth. I think a big thing is finding that way to sustain yourself that allows the flexibility to do the work, but that won't that won't send you, starving into the streets.
Yes.
And that you call that your survival job. That's a word you've used. Nice to hear it.
Yes, familiar with the term.
It kind of frustrates me to say, oh, look, I can't do that because I've got work. No, it's when you call it, what you call your work becomes that. So you need to call this your work so that it can become that. The acting is work. That you adopt the identity. As soon as you decide to be an actor, you are one. You might be very good, and that's okay. If you're passionate and you're excited about doing it, that's better than anything. You will get good if you keep doing it.
And I love the idea of being clear on an objective, even writing it down, putting it on the wall, coming back to it. It's so easy to get distracted with all of life's roundabouts, but, that's pulling you forward.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, having a direction, and like they say, a plane flying to LA is only pointing at LA for 1% of the time, or some fraction of it. You are flying around here and taking the currents and this way and that way. You hopefully will take you to that point, but in the direction. It means you'll keep moving. You'll keep doing stuff, because the enemy is stagnation. Is going, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to put myself out there. Not that it helped an enormous amount with my career, but there was a Brisbane actor called Bill Brown who used to say, "Peter, you have to show them." And I think it was like when you go, but no, I'm good at this and whatever. You go out there and show them the work, because that is it. Go, oh, well, I'm a bit shy. Well, it's actually the job. People say there's so much, they're a teacher or a police person. There's so much, I'm an actor all the time. Yes, there is acting in everything, but only actors are looking to sell their work for money, for a career. And so that's its own specific set of challenges, and working out how to do that your way is the journey.
Well, Peter, some fantastic insights into the mind of a casting director and acting coach. Thank you for making the time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it.
Great. Good. Well, thank you for having me. I was really excited, and congratulations on the podcast, because this is this is genuinely a really, really good resource, and I really loved listening to it. And so one last compliment is that I just love the way that you approach this with such vulnerable curiosity, and that which, on behalf of all of us, trying to learn something about what this world is we're trying to this world of acting and performing and being actors, and you're just filling in so many blanks for us by exploring it in this way. So thank you, and I look forward to episode 500.
Thanks, Peter. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, download, and just listen to more episodes. I'm Max Belmonte, and this is Two Unemployed Actors.
Two unemployed actors.